This is a video that is pre-recorded, so if there's any new bullshit by the time this video was posted, I'm sorry I missed it, and also not a surprise, but make sure you're still checking out the links down in the description. Any help that we can offer anybody at all, if you need help, maybe check out those links as well and you can get help. It is the middle of humid July, so I don't know how many more makeup faces you're gonna get in video, so treasure it while you can, alright? I look good always, but I look especially good with makeup on, and we all know it. Hello Friendzies, welcome back to my channel. This was supposed to be a different video that I had planned. You don't know what it was supposed to be, but I'm changing it up because I want to talk about Sims again. I've made a couple videos about Sims now, and I want to talk about Sims again because I have not stopped thinking about one particular Sim that I have, and it's brain rot. It's Sims brain rot, and now you're going to be part of it whether you like it or not. So please leave a like if you're excited, and let's get into it. So I've said before, and I definitely said it in the videos that were posted, I do a not so berry challenge in my own time. I tried to do one on the channel, video corruption, all that nonsense. We're gonna try it again at some point. I don't have an ETA for that, just at some point we'll try not so berry again. But I am doing a not so berry challenge in my own time, like personal time, and if you don't know what the not so berry challenge is, I will actually leave a link down in the description so you can check it out and read it. It's a challenge in The Sims 4 to kind of like challenge you to play different ways that you wouldn't necessarily play all the time, and it's been super fun. I'm on Gen 9, green gen right now in my personal time, but my game is glitching. I think I know what the problem is, but I haven't played that save file in a bit because it's really frustrating to try to do anything and have the game crash. Anyway, I want to talk about, in particular, my orange gen, because while I have loved every single one of my gens, they all are my precious babies. Nobody in my berry family can handle anything. Anytime life gets like remotely real, they all chop off their hair and move away to a different town. They're very dramatic. The berries are very dramatic and they're very chaotic, but the chaos has reached absolute peak with Orange Gen. Orange Gen has been my absolute favorite Sim, and I genuinely started crying when they died, and my mom also got really upset when they died. So let's talk about Orange Gen. I wore my like, is this Juicy Fruit? Hold on. Is it Juicy Fruit? No, it's Airhead. Okay, but it's like the watermelon Airheads. I wore like my gayest orange shirt today because they were gay and I love Orange Gen. So my Orange Gen Sim was named Rogue Berry. Absolute darling boy. And the chaos kind of started with his mother because the gen before him was supposed to have the non-committal trait, divorce her partner, remarry the partner, you know, change careers a lot. It was a whole thing. So basically what happened is his mother, Oishi, divorced her husband, moved to a new town, started being like in the entertainment career basically from the ground up, and was pregnant with Rogue when all of this happened. So Rogue ended up growing up as kind of a latchkey kid while his mom, like him and his mom had a great relationship. I cannot play any Sims game ever with the parents and the children not having a good relationship. The siblings might not have good relationships, but the parents and the children have to have good relationships. It's called trauma, okay? But Rogue and his mom were super, super close, but he was a latchkey kid because her, like, hours for the entertainment career always kind of messed up when he would come home from school. But every time they hung out together, they would, like, every time they got time together, they would bake and, like, make little snacks together. And it was really cute. And his dad had, like, a key to the house and everything, and his dad would come visit often, but his dad didn't know about him, really, until he was, like, already born. So poor Rogue, you know, didn't have the best relationship with either of his parents, I would say, because, you know, being home alone kind of all the time, and his dad really only visiting, and he was very kind of confused as to, like, why his dad didn't live with them. But right before I think he turned into a teen, his parents got back together, right? So he was a young child. He was like 10 or 11, let's say, in like real life, not in Sims world. He was like 10 or 11 when his parents got back together and got married. And then his parents had two other children. They had Hermes and they had Harlow Berry. I love them as well. Hermes got fucking hench, but that's a spoiler. Okay. So the story of Orange Gen in the like description in the link below is that like very chaotic childhood, you know, black sheep of the family, this and that. So the way I played it is with Rogue's parents getting remarried and then having two more children, and he was like, I have the preteen mod, so he was like a preteen, very much questioning why like his parents would like, why his siblings basically got to have a relationship with both of their parents, raising them together. And at that point, Oishi's career had like gone up quite a bit, so she had more days off during the week. So it was kind of that. It was like, why was I kind of like alone all the time, but my parents are like now here all the time with my younger siblings? Why do they have younger siblings? Why do they get to grow up with dad living in the house and I didn't? That kind of vibe. Also, I was playing Rogue before the like pronoun update came out, which at the time I'm filming this video, the pronoun update has been out for a while. I was playing Rogue before the pronoun update got launched, so I would have given Rogue he, they pronouns. Rogue 100% was a he, they icon, and I love them for it. So, Rogue grew up, he was a teenager, and then they had this best friend named Ellis, where they met when they were young, because if you play Sims, the house in Del Sol Valley, the like little one that everybody plays as like their starter, and the park is like right across the street there. Rogue met this kid named Ellis, and he was an absolute little darling. He was pale as hell. Rogue was like a little bit tanner, and they both had the like same shade of red hair. Very cute little kids. And they were best friends for a while. Rogue made like a bad kids club, and Ellis was immediately invited. Ellis was the one that like they had the best relationships with, and as they grew up, their relationship just got better and better. But Rogue, as a teenager, was a little shit, because they were always sneaking out of the house and always just like breaking curfew and everything. I had the idea in my head of like they hated that their parents were both celebrities, because we would have paparazzi show up outside the house all the time, and because they were so much older than both of their siblings, he was always like, why do I have to stay, like, why do I come home from school and they come home from daycare and now we have a nanny in the house? Like, I don't want a nanny. I never had a nanny. Those kind of vibes, right? So Rogue was always sneaking out and hanging out, and one of the times they snuck out, they took Ellis with them, and I had them like meet classmates, because I have the Kawaii Stacy Better Schools mod, and I have the preteen mod. And one of the kids they met at school was this guy named Douglas. And Douglas, in like, because you can check with MC Command Center, Rogue was like 2 out of 13 days of teenager, and Douglas was like 8 out of 13. So I like the idea that Rogue was like 15-ish and Douglas was like 17, 18, right? So they would sneak out all the time. They would bring Ellis and Douglas with them, and they went to like one of the clubs in the Del Sol Valley that has like the celebrity like VIP area, and Rogue like hated the idea that their parents were celebrities, hated the idea that like paparazzi would show up at their house, and then was like, hey guys, I can get us into this VIP area, and tried to get in, and the bodyguard was like, no, because you don't have any like celebrity status. I did that on purpose for Rogue. And Rogue was like, fine, I'm gonna fucking fight this guy. Got into a fight and lost. And it was great. And so what I did with Douglas, because Rogue from the very beginning, like as soon as like in teenager years they could get attraction, Rogue was very attracted to Ellis, but he was also very attracted to Doug. So what I did is, in my head, I feel so bad for Doug. Poor Doug just became the villain in this story. I'm so sorry, Doug. But I had the idea in my head that Doug, well, because I had Rogue flirt with him at one point, and I got the little pop-up that said I don't like guys, because I also have wonderful whims for attraction and everything. And I had the idea in my head that Douglas is like, I'm definitely straight, like I'm not into guys, but I'm gonna experiment with this young kid, because again, he was like 17, 18 in my head, and Rogue was like 15, 16, with this young kid, and I'm gonna like just go over whenever he wants, because have you met the celebrity berries? Like, come on, man, I'm gonna be in the berry house. That kind of vibe. And Rogue, the only reason I did this to Rogue, I have also the relationship wellness mod. I have a lot of mods in my game, and that's one of the ones where it can like designate if your sim wants to be pregnant, you know, could go either way, does not want to be pregnant. Rogue had that does not want to be pregnant, or like does not want children, whatever. And again, Rogue, he, they, absolute icon. I love Rogue so much. They definitely would have had he, they pronouns. And I wish, after that pronouns update came out, I also heavily regretted not giving Rogue top surgery scars, because I have CC for that. And Rogue absolutely would have rocked that shit. Rogue was covered in their later years with quite a bit of scarring. So Rogue would have had top surgery scars 100%. I wanted to give, you know, Rogue top surgery scars, and 100% the only reason that Rogue ended up having children, spoiler alert, is because Rogue was my heir. And the orange gen has to have twins. That's a requirement of the challenge. If you want to like play by the rules, that's a requirement. That's the only reason why Rogue ended up having children, because Rogue is 100%, if they were a real person, would have an abortion, no regrets whatsoever, you know? Also, we support abortion here, if you can't tell, on the Sharky Chico channel. So Rogue got pregnant by Douglas, and Douglas also had the doesn't want children thing, so they got into like a big fight about it. Rogue went home, and like I said, if this was not a Not So Berry challenge, a legacy challenge where we had to have a next gen, Rogue would have 100% gotten an abortion, and their mom, Oishi, would have 1000% supported it. But because they had to have children, my storyline for that is that when Rogue came home after breaking curfew for the millionth time, and the day they got pregnant, they broke curfew after they had already been grounded for breaking curfew. So just a mess. So what I did is Rogue came home, and if you have the like teen pregnancy of relationship wellness turned on, I had Rogue tell his mom, and Oishi's like initial reaction, which I feel like a lot of parents, especially when your kid's like I said, like around 16, 17 now at this point, like Rogue's like a little bit older, would be, oh my god, what the hell, what are we gonna do? But Oishi was, you have the option, like as the parent with that mod, to react really positively or really negatively. So in my head, Oishi reacted, or well, in the game, I had Oishi react very positively. And in my head, that was, Rogue was like, I definitely want to get an abortion. But then watching his mom be so excited kind of felt guilty. Again, the only reason I did it this way is because of a legacy challenge. And I think this is something that does happen in real life. So felt really guilty and was like, fine, I'll keep the baby because my mom's really excited and I don't want to make her sadder than I already apparently did. And I had Rogue's dad react very negatively, basically like blow up on him and be like, this is why we have a curfew, like this is why we're grounding you for not following the curfew, like you should be home, you should be studying, like you should be picking up your grades, this and that. So what I did is, because of how negatively the reaction was from their dad, I had Rogue move out, because another requirement of the Not So Berry challenge is that you need to live in a TLC apartment in San Myshuno for your entire young adult life. So what I had Rogue do is I moved them to a really shitty apartment in San Myshuno. It's in the, what is it? It's not the Spice Market, it's the Arts Center. When you're looking at the map of San Myshuno and it's like the Stargazer Lounge is here and then it's this and this, it's this one. And it's the apartment on the left side of that, right? I had him move into the tiniest, shittiest apartment, and I only gave them 500 simoleons. And Rogue had twins, because that is a requirement of the challenge. And what I did, because you have to have one of the aspirations that like you get into like 5 fights, you have to be a public enemy, that's the aspiration. You have to get into 5 fights, you have to be like a criminal and everything. So what I did, because in my head it makes sense for the story, Rogue was like 18, 19. Had the babies, then aged up, so it was like, yeah, like 19, 20, you know what I mean? And went down to the vendors that you could get in the city and tried to haggle. And the first vendor I tried to haggle said no. So what I had Rogue do was immediately fight them. Which I think is really funny, because in my head it's like, hey, I have like $10. What can I get for me and 2 fucking babies? Because I'm 19 years old and don't know how to handle a baby. What do I do? And the vendor was like, listen, kid, I'm sorry. I can't give you anything for $10 because it's the city and inflation is a thing. And Rogue just being like, fine. So then it became my life mission, basically, because the area we lived in San Myshuno had like a lot of vendors all the time, right across from the museum, the art museum. Yeah, so the arts district in San Myshuno. So Rogue just, every time Rogue needed to fight somebody, it was one of the vendors. Just completely unprovoked, Rogue would just go down and be like, bah, bah. And what happened in Rogue's life is Rogue was attempting to raise 2 toddlers. He had 2 little kids, a boy and a girl, and invited Ellis to move in with them. Ellis, if you remember, Rogue's best friend since childhood, and the idea to me was maybe Rogue reached out to him and was kind of complaining about being a single parent and about like, Doug's an asshole and this and that, and it's just really hard. And Ellis, because Ellis was like in Sims, like a day or two younger than Rogue. So like maybe 6 months to a year younger than Rogue in real life. And I think Ellis liked the idea of like moving out when he was older and everything, and listening to Rogue, who Ellis had in my head, they always had a crush on each other, but Rogue was very infatuated with like Doug because he was an older boy and this and that, you know what I mean? Ellis having a crush on Rogue was like, well, I like, do you have space? Like, I can move in and we can like work it out together. And Rogue, because they've always had a crush on Ellis, was like, okay, are you sure? So I swear to God, they lived in like a 2x2 room because I gave the bigger space to the twins because it literally just fit both of their little toddler beds, a bookshelf, and a door. That was it. And that was with move objects on, besties. Like, I can't. So Rogue and Ellis shared a bunk bed. Rogue and Ellis. Rogue was on the top bunk, Ellis was on the bottom bunk. They slept in a bunk bed. And were bestest friends, raising toddlers together, and Rogue was in the criminal career, as you have to be, and would go to work around like 5 p.m., come home around 3. Ellis would wake up at like 4 and go to a barista shift until, I think, like 10, 9 or 10. Rogue would have to get up with the babies and like get them ready for daycare, send them to daycare, and then go to bed, so then Ellis would be up during the day to like actually take care of the kids, make dinner and everything before Rogue had to leave for work. It was absolute fucking chaos. It was so chaotic. And Rogue continued to like kind of have a really rocky relationship with their dad. Oishi died in the middle of our living room on the twins' birthday, which was really upsetting. That was the thing. But anyway, one of the times that I was playing, the romance festival's in town, and I was like, ooh, this is spicy. Okay, story time in my head. What happened is I had Rogue and Ellis go, and Ellis went off to, like, talk to the romance guru, and I didn't plan this, but Jasper, Rogue's dad, ended up calling them. So Rogue, you know, answered the phone, whatever. And when Ellis was talking to the romance guru, he was like, what's my, like, romantic future look like? And the guru said, like, oh, you know, don't count your chickens or whatever, like, don't get too excited because it's really bleak. And I saw that and I was like, oh my God, no, not Ellis. And Rogue was like, I imagine Rogue got off the phone and like walked over and was like, no, nuh-uh. So I had Rogue fight the romance guru. It was like this little old lady. So fought the romance guru and then immediately started flirting with Ellis because I liked the idea that this is when Rogue felt like he wanted to confess his feelings. So then Rogue and Ellis got together and still had to sleep in a bunk bed for the longest time because I didn't move them out of that apartment until Rogue was an adult, but also until the kids were teens. And then what I did after that, it was like, well, because, and I don't know if this is like an update. I don't know if they updated it and like made some of the careers better, because I never used to play with a criminal career, so this could have always been a thing. But throughout the whole point of living in the Needs TLC apartment is that you're supposed to stay poor because it bleeds into the next gen. You're supposed to basically stay poor. So anytime I got a little bit of money, I bought like a really ridiculous thing to make sure they didn't have a lot of money and they couldn't like, I had to make them like replace stuff instead of fixing it. That way they wouldn't have a lot of money. But Rogue kept getting calls being like, oh, the like illegal endeavor I was part of really worked out. Here's your money. So he'd be getting like 2,000 or 3,000 simoleons at a time from these calls. So I always did ridiculous things. So for the twins' birthday, when they aged up into teenagers, what I did is I took all 4 of them to Solani and got both the twins a violin and both of them like a fancy laptop, and it was really cool. And then when they could move out of the TLC apartment, when Rogue aged up into an adult, we moved into this really nice apartment literally across the way. It was the apartment they used to live in. They moved in here and it had like really cool windows on the side so you could see their old building. But it was huge and I didn't have money to like fully furnish everything. So I like furnished the kitchen and like the front entryway and then gave the kids like bare minimum beds and Ellis and Rogue a bed. And that's how it played into the next gen, because then I had Ellis, you know, quit being a barista and get like a business career while Rogue stayed in criminal. Oh, because one of the things that you can like do, or like one of the cards you can get or something like that, or one of like the choices is something about like forging documents, I think. So in my head, the story went that Rogue did that and Ellis was like, if you're gonna do shit like that, let me know, because they're dating at this point, and I can help you because, oh my God, we can't get arrested. The kids, we gotta raise the kids. Like, Ellis was not against the criminal aspect of Rogue's life. Ellis was against the not being in the loop part so that he could also help take care of their children. You know what I mean? Because by this point, those kids were basically his. They were adopted as care dependents and Ellis was their other father. Thank you very much. So Ellis joined the business career to like kind of help cover up Rogue's shit, but then also to help pay for this really nice apartment that they had now. And it was really cute because the criminal career in The Sims 4 is really hard to get promoted in, and you end up having a lot of days off in between. And what happened with all the days off that Rogue had ended up like when I got like a little more money, I would like furnish different parts of the house a little more. I ended up furnishing like the ensuite bathroom, you know, master bedroom where Rogue and Ellis slept. I ended up updating that like first and getting like really nice appliances, and Rogue would like spend all day upgrading the tub and the shower so that Ellis could come home and have like a nice bubble bath. Rogue had the evil trait. They were a public enemy. I downloaded so much like CC where like their knuckles were like ripped open and scarred. They had like bruises all over their body because of being in the criminal career and being like a really good grunt for a while. I had a tattoo, I think on their chest or their arm, that said "No gods, no kings," because I was like, that's such a fucking Rogue tattoo. Turn into a little house husband who would bake sweets for their children when they came home from school, because Rogue was a really good dad. Rogue was like kind of an asshole, but a really good dad. Rogue was the kind of dad that when they were toddlers, he would be like covered in like baby food and everything and like baby spit eating a brownie. And both of his children are throwing a tantrum because he's going, no, you can't eat this. Eat a carrot or something. You know what I mean? Turned into a little house husband and I absolutely loved it. And then oh, Ellis kept rolling the want or the whim, whatever the fuck Sims 4 calls it, to get a cat. And it was constantly, if it wasn't a cat, it was I want to buy a litter box, I want to buy a cat tree. So we got a cat. I think it was a Persian with like the like smushed in nose a little bit. Beautiful fluffy white cat baby that was named Snowy Berry. And then Ellis would have work during the day, so Rogue was just at home baking cookies, tricking out the bathtub and playing with Snowy, and it was the absolute most precious thing in the world. And then the twins got older, but I couldn't like leave the household really until Rogue reached the top of the criminal career, because that's part of the challenge if you're playing by the rules and everything. So the kids were halfway into their young adulthood, Rogue and Ellis's twins, and one of the twins actually had their like fiance wife pregnant living in the household with them, but Ellis kept having the like wants to have a baby with Rogue whim, and I was like, okay. So then Rogue has this thing where like Rogue obviously ended up loving their children very, very much, but if they had the choice, if they weren't the heir, would have never had children. Ellis kept wanting a baby, so I had them have a whole thing where they wanted a baby, and it's like, it's just so funny because Rogue is like fucking tough mafia boss, covered in scars and tattoos, like complete hard ass, has the evil trait, like will fight any fucking vendor that looks at him wrong, literally does anything his husband asks him to. Rogue, I want a cat, gets a cat for Ellis, bakes him cookies, tricks out his bathtub, adopts a baby. So then Rogue was this like let's say late 40s, early 50-year-old person with 2 fully grown children, a cat that is like an absolute bastard to him because Snowy obviously preferred Ellis and the twins. Like Snowy didn't bite Rogue a lot, but Snowy and Rogue were very like reluctant roommates. And is adopting a baby that they absolutely don't want because their husband wants one. And obviously in Sims, we live the perfect lives. Nothing is wrong anytime ever if you don't want it to be. So obviously Rogue loved their final daughter. Her name was Lyra. They ended up loving her very much, obviously, but Rogue did not want children to begin with. How did he end up with 3? And then obviously he reached the top of the criminal career, and I had the next heir, Rogue's son Poe, move out with his wife. You know, she was still pregnant, and Rogue died. I got the notification that Rogue died, and it was so sad. I genuinely started crying. I was like, Mom, Rogue died! And I was like in tears. Like, I couldn't believe it, but I was in tears. And Mom was like, no, are you serious? Because Rogue, like I said, I love all my Not So Berry heirs. They're all such disasters. It started with Gen 1, I'm telling you. Absolute chaos. And they have all just ridden the chaos train. The most well-adjusted Not So Berry heirs were my two of my male heirs. The one before Rogue and the one after Rogue. They are the most well-adjusted Sims, and they are surprisingly, well, not surprisingly, I guess, the ones that have had the most children. Something about Rogue just really got me. I had a lot of fun with Orange Gen, and I feel like a lot of people do, like the Claire Siobhan Not So Berry challenge. A lot of people ended up not liking her Orange Sim, but she had so much fun with Orange Gen. She said it all the time. Basically every episode she played of Orange Gen, she was saying how much fun she was having. And something about Orange Gen, same thing for me. I just really loved and enjoyed. And God, I don't know, man. They were just great. They were just really great. I miss Rogue so much. I just wanted to talk about him. I'm hot. It's my channel. I can do whatever the fuck I want here. So thank you guys so much for watching. Like I said, please leave a like if you enjoyed this video. I just wanted to talk about Rogue because it's my channel and I can do what I want. And I miss Rogue quite a bit. Like I said, I'm trying to continuing the Not So Berry challenge in my own time. I'm on Green Gen. I'm having a lot of issues in the save file and I'm really hoping I can fix them because I'm having a lot of fun with Green Gen as well. So I think Rogue is forever going to be a favorite though. And I obviously don't have like their teenage form, but I have Rogue as an adult. Like, I went back to like a previous save and loaded up that household and saved Rogue because I can't lose Rogue. It's Rogue's very like right before they age up into an elder and like reach the top of the career version, but I can't lose Rogue. So I have a piece of Rogue with me on my gallery. Did I say thank you so much for watching? If I did, then cool. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye! Boop! Got a fluff out of midair. Check that out.